So, hello again, everyone. I am Lisa Glonti. I am a creative consultant and art director, and I currently work at BBDO Group Germany. It's a advertising and creative agency with a very long history. It was actually one of the first agencies that was founded in the world in 19th century, late 19th century. And these are some of the clients I've worked for: Meta, Puma, Porsche, Mercedes, and some other German clients that you might not know. So today we will talk about creative communications, and we will go through a brief journey from creative briefs to ideas and executions, and we will cover everything from creative strategy to strategy, from strategy to ideas and different executions and scalings. We will also have Q&A and a small workshop. So first things first, why is creative communication needed? Do you have any answers to this question? I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Okay, please feel free to talk.
Maggie has a hand raised. Maggie, unmute.
Maybe to reach more people in a creative way will help to promote your product and idea.
Yes, that's a right answer. I also see another hand raised. I think there was a hand raised, but now it disappeared.
We also have this. Yeah.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, so we have some of the responses also in the chat.
Okay.
It's from Jumbo. He says to drive empathy and engagement. From Incha, it's suggestion to make it more inclusive. From Mariam and Gersamia, to influence people. From Salome, to attract more customers and to have a good coverage of audience.
Great. Actually, all the answers are correct. And most importantly, because we live the era that is full of information overload, and there is so much happening constantly online and offline, and it's so hard to grab people's attentions. It's getting harder and harder, because there was the study done in the United States that said that on average, a person sees 4,000 ads on a daily basis, is exposed to 4,000 ads. And when I read the statistics, I was mind blown. Like, is it even possible to see that much of an information in one day? But it actually is. And on top of that, we spend almost 7 hours on the screen time. So the amount of content that we are exposed to is unbelievable. And it's really difficult to stop a person from scrolling with something interesting without creativity. But some posts freeze our thumb from scrolling, and I think this is a great example that shows that. It's an ad by Coca-Cola, and they want to promote a new product, and what they did is they broke out from the grid of Facebook, and this kind of post immediately grabs your attention. Like, it's not usual thing, it's something unusual, and it makes you freeze. Oh, what's happening here? And it's not only those kind of funny things that make us freeze. Some content makes us freeze in our tracks. And this is a very powerful multi-award-winning poster campaign done by Amnesty International in Switzerland. It's called "It's Not Happening Here, but It's Happening Now." And it puts the issue of human rights abuse quite literally in front of our eyes. So these photos are photographed by real reporters who actually witnessed the scenes. And what they did is they photoshopped the backgrounds out, and they put the backgrounds of the streets of Switzerland, and they published these billboards right in those locations, so that it creates affect that these things are happening in front of our eyes. And sometimes the words are enough to do the magic, and these are some of my favorite copywriting ads. For those of you who might not know what copywriting is, it means creative writing. So very simple. The first one: cancer cure smoking. 3 words that are so smartly put together that it tells us the meaning in a very simple way. Or imagine a CEO. Is it a man? Imagine someone crying in the office. Is it a woman? Like super bold, only a couple of words, but they are very smart. Or the placement of the campaign that is about homeless people. If this person were a homeless person, if this poster were a homeless person, then most people would not even look down. So it all starts from the creative brief. But in the agency, we don't get creative briefs from the clients. From clients, we get folders that are full of papers, and these papers are full of numbers, statistics, and researches, and creative direction is rarely visible, making it super difficult to get inspired and to come up with good ideas. So that's why in the agencies, there are creative strategists who create one-page creative briefs. And the difference between client brief and creative brief is that client brief always thinks very rationally from the business point of view, while creative brief always thinks from the human point of view, and it only highlights the creative, the content that is used to come up with creative and inspiring ideas. So let's cover some of the key components of the creative brief. It always starts from the objective. And in the objective section, we ask, what are you trying to achieve with your campaign? And then we start discussing the target audience, what attributes bond this group of people together. And sometimes target audience is very briefly described with a couple of words, which might sound surprising. And sometimes we get attachments of the whole target persona with the detailed information. It all depends on how much information we need for the goal, because sometimes what we need is just to understand the key attributes that bond the group of people together. And then comes the problem. What is the barrier keeping you from achieving the goal from your target audience? So to describe this in a more simple way, we have the objective, right? And then we have the target audience. But there is the barrier between your objective and target audience. And we need to unlock this barrier. And in order to do that, we need an insight. So insight is something that we tell our target that would make them look at the problem in a new way or a new light. And insight is like a magic component of the brief, and we will dive deeper into this today, along with a proposition, which is second magic element of the brief. And proposition is all about your unique solution. So how do you use your insight to get around the problem? Like, what is the unique solution that you have that you're telling your targets? And then the action, and some also call it reaction, because it's about what we want our target to do, feel, or think by the end of the campaign, after seeing the campaign. And it's always important to go back and ask if our action corresponds to the objective that we had in the beginning. And now, as promised, let's dive deeper into insight and proposition. So there are many, many definitions of insights, and actually most of the industry experts, like creative strategists and creatives themselves, like to define insights in their own ways. However, what you see now on the screen is a definition by Mark Pollard, a great creative strategist, and today we will also learn about his 4-point framework. And this is how he describes the insights: an unspoken human truth that sheds new light on the problem. This is not a scientific definition, and there is no scientific definition, but this is very, very close to what insights are. And then there is another take, which is my take. I like to describe insights like this: an unknown truth discovered through observations. And I believe that observations are very powerful when searching for the insights and talking about the insights, because all the time insights are based on some kind of observations. Sometimes this observation comes from the research, and sometimes this observation comes from our daily lives, because all the time, passively or actively, we are in the observation modes. We are observing our friends and family, the strangers in the street. You are observing me right now. You're making conclusions. And these conclusions turn out to be very valuable during the brainstorming because they are always hidden in your subconsciousness. And in order to activate them, we have to start observing actively. So the difference between observation and insight is that observation is about what people do, and insight is diving deeper into that and asking the question why people do what they do. And it's not a formula, but it always helps to add because, the element of because, after noting down the observation. For example, most of the people prefer to buy a pet rather than opt for adoption. This is an observation. But if we ask the question why, we might find out that there are different insights hiding behind and in this observation. For example, few people adopt pets because most of them think that shelter animals are unhealthy, which is a misconception. And this might unlock some creative ideas. How can we make them see that this is not the truth? Or another great example is the campaign that we will see. First, let's read the observation and insight. So the observation is that people throw away millions of tons of good fruits and vegetables. And the reason behind this is that there is a common misconception that veggies and fruits are unusable because they change colors and don't look like they are fresh. And there was this great campaign done about this problem, and let's have a quick look. So basically, the idea was to tell people and show people that fruits and vegetables can be used no matter what color they are, and they are still reusable even if they go brown. And there are some recipes where they can still be used. For example, bananas can be used for cupcakes and so on and so on. So this is how Macro used this insight for the development of this great campaign. And happily, there are some techniques that tell us how to distinguish more between the observation and insight. For example, if you find the idea to be shocking, like it gives you some kind of discovery feeling and it gives you some kind of aha moment, there's a chance that you found an insight because there is a revelation. But if there's no revelation and you found a known truth and you are stating something that probably has been stated a lot of times and probably everybody knows and mentions already, then the chances are that you're talking about observation. And there's also a revelation checklist, the 5 key questions. But I think it's better for you to focus on 3 of them only because these 3 would work more for the organizations. The first question would be, does it unlock a way around the problem? Does it change the understanding of the problem? Or does it cause a reaction? And if the answer is yes to this question, then most probably you're talking about the insight. And there are different types of insights. There are brand insights, usage insights, purchase insights, all kinds of insights. There's 9 types. But for you, it's the best to focus on the cultural insights and consumer/your target audience insights, and try to observe the relevant thoughts about the culture your target lives in, because you might find some unique discoveries that will help you in developing your creative ideas. You don't need to use all these categories. Just pick the ones that fit your campaign the most. And let's move to the second key element, the magic element of the brief, which is the proposition. And proposition is the one key message that we want to communicate to the audience. And it's very important for it to be single-minded, like one key message, because more messages we send, the less they get across. And the very good example is Domino's Pizza's single-minded proposition in advertising, where they say you get fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. And in the advertising, we have this exercise-like thing where we say that if you can scream your single-minded proposition on Times Square and people will pay attention, then probably it's good. So this is a good example because the Domino is delivering one single message that you get your fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. It's actually very long. It could be shorter, but it's still a good example because it's talking about one thing. If they added another thing like cooked by top chefs or ingredients brought from Italy, then it would get so complicated that none of the messages would get across. So try to focus on one key message of the campaign and build the campaign around it. And if you want to discover other messages that you want to get across, have them as secondary messages and don't spend too much attention and equal attention on all of them. And you want people to join your campaign, initiative, or movement, and most likely you are not a brand with a product, or you could be. But whatever you're doing, it's very important to ask the question of what makes your idea and solution unique. Why should people pay attention? And on top of supporting a good cause, what can be the personal benefit of people? Because no matter what you're doing, and I'm sure you all are doing something good either for people or environment or for your community, but it's always very beneficial to think about what is the personal benefit of people that join the campaign. It could be as simple as just acknowledgement, like as a target audience person, what do they get by joining this campaign? What makes them feel good? And let's talk more about creative strategy if you don't have any questions so far. Okay, moving on. This is Mark Pollard's quote. When you do strategy, you make meaning from mess, and words do this for you. And the less words you use, the more clear your strategy is. And this is the 4-point framework by Mark Pollard, and it always starts with a problem. And in the problem section, we write the human problem behind the business problem. In your case, it's easier because the chances are that it's just the human problem for you. Then we move to the insight, an unspoken human truth that sheds new light on the problem. Then we move to the advantage, and advantage is similar to proposition, what makes your thing unique or motivating in people's minds. And the strategy, a new way of seeing your thing based on all of these 3 things. So to understand this better, let's see the Snickers example, don't let the hunger stop you. This is the international big idea that Snickers is still promoting to this day and using till this day. So let's see this example to make things clear. So problem was that before this campaign, people saw candy bars as empty, purposeless calories, basically junk food. But Snickers found that people act differently when they are hungry, so they use this because they believe that Snickers is more nutritious than any other candy bars. So their decade-long strategy became that if you eat Snickers, it will make you feel like yourself. Another example would be the Amnesty International's case that we saw today. It's not happening here, but it's happening now. So the problem was that people of Switzerland were not aware of the issue of human rights abuse. So Amnesty International found the insight that when thinking of the human rights abuse, most people think of the world so far removed from their own reality that it almost appears fictional. And their mission as a brand and organization is to fight abuse of human rights in the world and bring this topic to public attention. So their strategy for this campaign became to put the issue of human rights abuse quite literally in front of public's eyes. And now let's see how we move from strategy to ideas. A good idea has to surprise, it has to have a wow moment, and the concept has to be smart, something that cannot be thought of simply, something that needs deep thinking. And it has to strike you from the beginning, it has to give you excitement. So even if you have second thoughts about your idea that gave you this excitement, it's most probably better to stick with it, even if you are like, maybe it's too much or maybe it's too risky. Sometimes it's good to do this kind of things. And please write this website down because this will be very useful. This is called the Deck of Brilliance, and this website is basically the collection of 52 creative techniques with explanations and examples and case studies, and with the namings very well structured. It also has got this before you begin introducing text that you can read. So you'll find a bunch of resources here because I cannot cover all the creative techniques in this webinar, but please use this website as much as you can, deckofbrilliance.com. And today I decided to cover hacking and hijacking technique because I believe that it is not only smart, but most of the time hacking hijacking uses very low budgets. And I don't know if some of you know the campaign that is going to be after this slide, but do you think there is a way to hack electronic store? Or do you have any guesses of a campaign this could be? So yeah, this was a heartwarming campaign done by Pedigree and BBDO Brazil. And these are problem insight strategy ideas that we can observe and understand how it was developed. In some cases, we write problem and insight together because they are usually very connected. So people were not seeing sheltered dogs on a daily basis, and it was one of the causes why there was low adoption rates in the country. So the agency found this observation / insight that TV screens in the electronic stores just were showing the boring footage all the time. So they thought, why not use it for a good cause and make sheltered dogs visible to public? So that was the strategy of the campaign. And the idea became to, use these TV screens to show these dogs. And it turned into this beautiful campaign that actually had a quite good impact. Another case that I'll be showing is about Apple stores. And if there is a way to hack into this very protected stores, and there is, and Backmarket found a way, and you'll see who Backmarket is and what they did in this video. They sell refurbished phones.
There's an airdrop request from Back Market. Oh. It's time to go refurbished with a cheaper and greener model. You can sign me up.
So yeah, what they did is they targeted the buyers in stores with airdrop ads. So the background was that this industry is very non-sustainable, while Backmarket is refurbishing phones and selling old phones that go under checks. And they wanted to tell people about this, so they targeted people right where they make decisions and where they enjoy picking up the product. So this is how they use this technology in a very, very smart way. And last but not least, transparency cards. Brazilian news website found a way to hack into the corrupted politicians' wallets. This is one of my favorite cases. This won Cannes Lion this year in 2023.
The lack of transparency allows Brazilian politicians to spend public money like nobody's watching. But what if keeping track of public money was as easy as keeping track of your own money? The Brazilian digital news portal Congresso em Foco created Transparency Card, a card that turns mobile wallets into a tool against corruption. Politicians' spending data is open by Brazilian law, though they intentionally made it extremely complex to access. Our system made it simple. It analyzes multiple government databases, delivering spending data updates of over 500 politicians in real time by push notifications. With no need for an app or a web app, it uses a native feature of phones, the mobile wallet. Just access our website, select the politicians you want to watch, and add their cards. Every time they spend taxpayers' money, the entire country feels it directly in their wallets. Accessing spending history is also easy, like any credit card. The innovation was launched 4 weeks before the elections, when the president imposed secrecy orders to hide his own spending data. With thousands of active cards and millions of notifications sent, it empowered Brazilians to hold politicians accountable. And even served as an investigation source for journalists from other news portals, helping to boost transparency as a crucial elections topic.
O Congresso em Foco lança o cartão da transparência.
Você receber no seu celular aviso toda vez que esse político que você votou fizer gasto.
Isso tudo sai do nosso bolso e nós temos o direito de saber.
After the new president's election, this happened.
A lei de acesso à informação voltará a ser cumprida.
So every single hidden expense was added to our platform, plus all the newly elected Congress members in Brazil. Transparency Card is an ongoing project, ever-evolving and globally scalable. Transparency Card. It's your money. You should know how it's spent.
Great campaign. So to break it down, the problem here was that Brazil loses $40 billion yearly to corrupted politician spending, which is quite a lot. And insight was that even though their spending data is public, it's very difficult to access it. Therefore, they spend the public money like nobody's watching. So what they did is they made this whole thing very simple using a tech that is available and that is accessible to everyone. And they turned mobile wallets into a tool against corruption, which is quite smart. I see that there is one comment in chat, but I cannot read it.
It's basically not much of the comment. It's about, like saying that this is a very cool example and we absolutely love it. I personally absolutely love the transparency card because it's so techie.
It is an amazing case. So now let's talk about the idea scaling. These are some of the common 360 channels, and you can give it a thought which ones you want to focus on in your campaigns. So these are changing in different kinds of projects, and it's not fixed thing that every 360 campaign should have these things, but these are just some common channels that you can give a thought to. And it involves social media, and it involves print, posters, even flyers, out-of-home billboards or activations, and TV and radio events, digital and physical ambient, and we will dive deeper into this and see what this means. Online media partnerships with articles like newspapers and blogs. Also, blogs can be in forms of the website, independent websites or like one-pagers. And also email marketing is something that you can consider depending on your creative brief and campaign. And this is guerrilla marketing, out-of-home creative marketing, and it is a market technique that uses surprise and uses excitement, and it most often happens either in weird places like unusual locations, or it uses existing locations or objects in an unusual way. So it's all about creating this unexpected feeling and capturing users or viewers' attention.
Lisa, I'm just going to stop you here. So there is a question from Mariam. What do you mean by out-of-home channels?
So out-of-home channels means literally out-of-home, and guerrilla marketing is one of the types of out-of-home channels, but it can also be a simple billboard, or it can also be a bus billboard, like bus of ad placement. It can also be wild posting. So everything that takes place out of home is called out of home. Did that answer the question?
Thank you.
Okay. And this is another example of guerrilla marketing, and it's for Denver Water. And their key message is to use only what you need, and they're talking about water. And they use this out-of-home billboards and objects in a very unique ways to show their messaging. So they're not only using this copy and text, but they also get experimental with the objects. And this one, victims are people just like you and me. And this is a sticker placement in cinemas and in buses, everywhere where this messaging can get through and show that people around us can also be victims, and to pay more attention. And this is a very, very smart campaign. Donate your flash drive. And so this was a stand where people could plug in the USBs full of information, and then some people would hack this USB drives in North Korea, so that it would make people aware of the outside world and participation.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It was very, very interesting.